What is happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. We're back here after the Leicester versus Southampton game, which was obviously another one of Southampton's games in hand. They are clearly out of the top two race. And for me now, Leicester have solidified that first place now, people. I think it's over in terms of the championship, or maybe it's not, according to some of you. Maybe you still think that Leeds can do it. Before I get into it, this is not going to be a long video today. We're just going to quickly go over it, speak about Dan James. But wow, Leicester absolutely fried Southampton today. They cooked them, absolutely sauteed them. And Leicester, for me, I mean, overall this season, they've had a few blips, but they have been the best team in the league by a mile. Hasn't even been close. So they'll be going up first place. Now it's on Leeds to take grip on second place. Got to keep hold of second place. That is it now. And I've said from time, don't care about the championship trophy. If you get it, cool. But just as long as you get the top two, that's it for me. If you haven't already, hit a like, subscribe, and of course, drop your thoughts and comments after Leicester's emphatic result today. Chris in the house, I think this Southampton will turn up against Leeds. I think there's various factors in that one. I think, Chris, we always know that people coming to Ellen Road play differently than when they go elsewhere. The only thing I will say is that Southampton will probably look to spoil whatever party may happen on that day, and will want us to suffer playoff consequences with them. That's the only thing I can think of, because Southampton are a wide open team. They're not usually one that put up a low block anyway, which suits us. Obviously, you've seen it suits us better, but it's going to be a completely different game. It wouldn't surprise me if they play differently when they come to Ellen Road. Gavin here, Alex McCarthy in goal is Cage's favorite out for 9 months. Yeah, it's crazy. Great, Alex McCarthy. I don't know if anyone actually remembers Alex McCarthy, but he was only here for a cup of coffee. But I think he played 6 games for us, if that. But he was brilliant for us. But this was way back when he was a youngster, way back. I think it was when Reading were in the Premier League and we took him on loan. He was a real solid goalkeeper, man. I missed him when he went back. Allison, you know the drill. They will always turn up against us. Yeah. And you got to think as well, they want to spoil the party. You know, when you want to play spoiler, especially at a ground like Ellen Road, you don't want to see Leeds United fans celebrating. You don't want to see that. So, of course, they'll want to play spoiler. You'd have thought they would have tried a bit harder today, but it wasn't just that Southampton weren't good. Leicester absolutely obliterated them. And Fatouat, woof, brilliant today. Kevin knows saying Leicester could still battle it. I don't think so. I think the quality that they've got, momentum, is a big thing in football. They've got it all. And currently, I'll get the tables up in a bit. They're clear. And I think if we was in the position, I say this to Kevin and everyone else, if we was in the position Leicester are in right now, we would all be planning a promotion party. Fair? Well, most of us, except for the usual suspects. But yes, I think we'd be planning a promotion party right now. Sean here, win on Friday, and I think Ipswich will crumble. That's what we got to focus on, people. That the motive doesn't change. Win at QPR. Make it as difficult as possible for Ipswich. I was saying to kind of earlier, you know, he still has his doubts, but the one thing that is in our favor is that Hull have still got something to play for. It may be a minute opportunity to get in the playoffs, but they've still got a shot. So Hull won't be lying down for Ipswich, and then they've got a tough away game against Coventry. So there are still ways that we can keep the second spot. I just wish that it was more in our hands than it is right now. Yeah, Russ here, Leeds are going up. Keep the faith, folks. It's always funny. Russ, you lost the faith a couple weeks ago. I remember your comments. Of course I do. Shout out to you. Oh, and shout out to John Abbott for the super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated. Kevin here, Leicester's last 2 games are still tough matches. Well, Kevin, segue king, because I got them up right here. I'm sorry to say, Kevin, these aren't tough matches for Leicester City. Preston away, that is not a tough game. Not for Leicester City, it's not. And Blackburn, they may be safe by then, who knows? But I think Blackburn will be fine anyway. But a home game against Blackburn Rovers, they would only have to win that one, correct? And that's it. We'll get the table up in a bit, but now Leicester aren't going to have any issues with both of these games. I don't think so anyway. I had both, Gavin. I was watching both. I saw 5 being held by both teams. It's crazy. goals in both games. I was doing double duty. I was watching one on the TV, one on my phone. Beautiful day of football. Beautiful. I just wish that it was a draw with Leicester Southampton. That would have been a bit more interesting. But Leicester, they're determined. You know what? That's understandable, Russ. Never lost the faith, KG. Just completely lost my head with them. You know what? That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Uh, Tintin as well saying, bet Southampton don't play like that at Ellen Road. We will see, people. You know, we will see what's going on. Listen, they haven't got top two to play for no more. It's done. They're Dunsky for them. It's about playoffs for them. But we'll see what kind of team turns up. If I'm Russell Martin in that last game, knowing that it's just playoffs, I'm resting a few of my big hitters for the playoff. But you know how it goes. No one wants to go outside at Ellen Road. Nobody. So they will probably bring all their big hitters. But I'll say the way Southampton play, that should suit us fine. I don't know why. I'm not worried about so much about that game. I'm more focused on the QPR one. You know, away type QPR should be straightforward for the talent we have, but you know, it's never that straightforward for this football club, as you know. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, they will want to stop us going up automatically. Yeah, of course, of course. But Gavin also says Southampton won't want injuries for playoffs. Exactly, both, both. Bobby here saying it's in Ipswich's hands now. All we can do is get our job done and hope they drop points. Of course, that's all we can do. That is all we can do. But get the 3 points against QPR first, and then we'll take it from there. Because Hull is not going to be easy for Ipswich. So here we are. Let me just get the. I mean, it was ridiculous. They blammed them to smithereens. It wasn't even close. I was expecting at least a close game today. Southampton laid down, and if you didn't see the game, I mean, this it really does tell you the story. I know stats don't go by everything, but it really was as one-sided as the stats suggest in terms of threat on goal. It was ridiculous, man. One-way traffic in terms of that. So yeah, Leicester, you know, counter attacking at home, they got the job done though. You know what I mean? Uh Baseball here saying QPR still fighting to stay up. Okay, let me get the table up, people. Uh Leicester. Leicester just blown ahead. Okay, here we are then. Here's the table. QPR 18th, 50 points. No, you know what? I'll be real with you. I think they're safe. I think it's fair to say they're safe. If Birmingham and Huddersfield were any danger for QPR, then I think that would have happened early in the season. Now, of course, both teams could win 2 games in a row, but the probability and chances are very unlikely. So I don't see QPR in danger. I think it'd be more worrisome if we were playing one of the bottom four, maybe even five in Plymouth. But you know, I think we'll be okay. Kind of funny though, as well with the Blackburn one. I said at the time I thought they'd be safe because they get 3 points in their upcoming games. I didn't expect it to be against us. I thought it'd be against Wednesday. Wednesday go to Blackburn and absolutely batter them. Crazy how football goes, right? Crazy. Um, yeah, are they playing each other? I mean, I'll be real with you. I don't know Birmingham and Huddersfield's schedule. I don't know who their next fixtures are. So you know, I don't see them winning 2 games in a row. I just don't see it. Let's have a look. Yeah, exactly. And that's the logic I go by. Teams rarely win at the bottom. That's why they're there. Yeah, of course, because if that's why I always look at it, unless they go on a monumental run, and those things happen once every 10 years, if that. If they were that good, they wouldn't be in the position they're in. So I think QPR are absolutely fine. But more to the point, we shouldn't be worrying about QPR when we've got guys like this in our team. We shouldn't be worried about them. I know the worry is always going to be there, the PTSD from Leeds fans. But when we've got people like Somerville, even Jorginho, as much flack as he got, even in the match reaction I got last night, he was still instrumental in a couple of the goals being set up. And you know, all it takes is one to go off Bamford's neck. Who cares where it comes off? Nonto will probably be playing more than probably up to the 90 minutes with the news of Dan James' injury, which I'll get into in a bit. But yeah, we shouldn't be worried about QPR. But it's funny, I'm still kind of nervous about it. I'm not worried, I'm nervous because you know what this team can do sometimes. David here should beat QPR easily. Yeah, Okay, right. Well, that makes a lot of sense then, Michael. Thank you. Huddersfield play Birmingham next. Big game down there. Big game. Tremendous. Yeah, and more offside goals from Nanto. There was an offside goal today, people. The Leicester City one, the first one. Was it the first one? Yeah, that was offside as well. Just shows you, isn't it? Without VAR or whatever it is, that can help you down here. You can get away with stuff like Bamford elbowing one in. Obviously, you won't get those in the Prem, but you deal with that when you get there, right? James here saying Somerville's been the best player this season. Yeah, between him and Ethan Ampadu, I think their consistency overall this season has been really good. Even in that period where we was going on a bit of a lag before Christmas, Somerville was always the one that looked the most dangerous, no matter what, when everyone else would go quiet. So yeah, I no arguments with that one. Maz here saying Gelhart will have a save if he gets a chance. Watch out for him. Listen, Gelhart could make a difference, but the evidence is there to say he's not getting on the pitch. Like he's literally taking up a place on the subs bench. Mateo Joseph didn't even get on the pitch yesterday, so I think it's very very unlikely Joe Gelhart gets a look in. I am still interested though, even with Leicester's result date. Does anyone, because I know there's a few of you that believe it, and fair play to you. Do you still think we could win the league? I'm interested. Arinda here, reckon this is good for us coming into the last game of the season. Arinda, all depends what happens against QPR. Because if we lose that game against QPR, we are really, really hoping then that Ipswich lose both games. Now, I don't think there's a, of course, they could win both games, of course, but I think there's more of a chance like a win and a draw. But if you get the win, there's a psychological pressure on them as well, especially knowing that they've got 2 away games coming up. I think it's huge. So we need to get that job done on Friday. But listen, we'll talk about the QPR game in the preview. Yeah, league is gone. Oh, James, I still believe in first place. Tremendous. Matt saying no, league is gone. Gavin saying anything is possible. Hey, listen, Kevin Garnett. But yeah, some of it just tremendous, man. 30 goal involvements, and there's more to come. Unfortunately, though, I think this is it for Dan James's season. I know that they've ruled him out for the game against QPR. But Leeds United can confirm winger Dan James suffered a cartilage injury and oblique abdominal muscle tear during the Monday's 4-3 victory over Middlesbrough. As a result, the 26-year-old, as if he's 26 now, by the way, will be unavailable for Friday's trip at Loftus Road against QPR. Now, I don't know too much about the first injury, but obliques and anyone that works out, or maybe if you've got an order and you just stretch funny, you know your obliques when you strain them hurt like hell. So the fact that that's torn, he's not playing in the last 2 games of the season. No, I don't think so. I'm not a doctor. I just pretend to be one on stream, but I don't think that he's playing in the last 2 games of the season. So QPR, no. The fact that he's torn the oblique, that is a painful, painful injury. Muscle tear, nah. I think he's done for the season. So whether that means now Willie Nanto gets more time on the pitch, or maybe Jaden Anthony gets a look in for a few more minutes, as someone said earlier, maybe Gelhart, maybe even Joseph might get a sniff. It does mean now that we have lost a bit of the strength from the bench there, because Dan James, he hasn't been too impressive since he's come back from international duty. Whether the penalty misses on his mind, who knows? But he's still a dangerous option when the opposition manager's looking, saying, "Oh, good, Willie Nanto's coming off. Ah, bloody, or not the speed demon Dan James." So it is a blow. Yeah, exactly. I mean, any tall muscle is brutal, like Lewis says here, but the obliques hurt like hell. They really do. Um, yeah, he hasn't changed games. I know he did well with that goal from the halfway line, not taking that away from him. But yeah, he was really, really good the first half of the season. He was keeping Nanto out, and rightly so. But Nanto's come back in, and Nanto looks every bit the Premier League player that he looked while he was in the Premier League now. So it's been tough for Dan James. And then the Wales international incident happened. That makes it even harder, although I'd like to see him be mentally stronger and bounce back from that. But yeah, it's a shame to lose him for the last 2 games. You could always use a Dan James. Gavin, please don't imagine that. Cooper for Dan James. Lewis here though, saying Leicester draw the last 2, we win the last 2, we win the league. I mean, listen, I shout out to you that got hope. And listen, I hope you all come back to me and say, listen, I told you we win the league. I would be more than happy to bring all those up. I just don't see them having problem against Preston away, and especially Blackburn at home. I don't see it, people. Not in the way that they are cooking right now. So yeah, that is Dan James. I don't think there's and this is the kicker though. And shout out to LUFC data for this. Obviously, I think it's probably stuff that people probably know, but this is where I got it from. But Daniel Farker became the first Leeds manager to earn 90 points in his first season in charge in the club's history. It would just be the Leedsy thing to have this kind of number and not go up, which is another thing that kind of scares me because we are capable of doing it. Remember, we did that whole playoff thing. What was it? Winning the away leg first. Usually you go through or something like that. There's some kind of zany stat that we eventually broke in when we lost to Derby, and it's like, damn, we went up in the first leg, went up in the home leg. I don't remember what it was, but we broke it, and we do have that ability to do that. So listen, it's been a good season, but as I always say, unless you've been promoted, it all means nothing. It means zero. It means absolutely nothing. And you will see that come summertime when the assets get stripped down. Dan here saying Hope Roden is fit. Didn't he pick up a nut? I think so, but I think we'll get more info on that in Daniel Farker's press conference before the QPR game, and I'll be covering that in the match preview. Um, Yeah, Gavin, Blackburn are pants. We blew that one big time. There's been a few though, hasn't there? There's been a few that realistically our squad could do better. And I saw that thing going around as I think a few people have mentioned it in the teams that I've even mentioned it on here where Blackburn get obliterated by Bristol City and come to Ellen Road and win. But it's more we beat ourselves just from the way that we were playing, or shall I say not playing. We weren't quick enough, we weren't creating enough chances, not shooting quick enough. We did that to ourselves. I don't think it was so much people's cup finals. I think Middlesbrough, that was a cup final for them. If you want to make a comparison in comparison to Sunderland, Blackburn, and there was another game, wasn't there? Watford, where we didn't even deserve to get a draw. That wasn't them us being their cup finals. We were just poor. Middlesbrough yesterday, that was their cup final. Everything was on the line. Crowd full, noisy, keeper coming up at the last minute, even though they've got nothing on the line. That was their cup final. There's the difference in what I'm talking about. Uh, who's cheats? Back of the net. Daniel Farker has broken so many positive records this season. Auto spotting coming belief. I'm with you. Back of the net. It's real hope more than anything because we do have to rely on Ipswich dropping points. We do. But yeah, listen, if take second spot, I am happy with that. I'm happy as Larry. Don't care. I'll take it back in the net. We just now have to hope that other teams do us favors. Hull City and Coventry, we got to hope they do us favors. That's it. No, John, they can't deduct Leicester points from Leicester. I think Leicester, it's next season, they'll be getting some kind of punishment. So whether they're in the Premier League or Championship, they'll get some kind of sanction. I don't know what it is, but it won't be this season. Let's have a look. Yeah, Bobby, Borough were playing like they were down in the playoff final. It was crazy. When you look at it, it was mad how they were playing, but we know the the hatred Middlesbrough have for Leeds United, and that was plain to see yesterday. Real plain to see. I'm glad we got the win though. So yeah, there it is, people. That is the state of play after today. Just one last time. Leicester now caught up with their games in hand, 4 points clear of us, 5 points clear of Ipswich, but Ipswich do have that game in hand. But yeah, people, this is it's too tight, man. Pause. But it's too tight for comfort. You know what I mean? And just please go up, please. Please. I can't do this next season. I can't do it. I can't. Um yeah, Gavin. I mean that goes without saying. Back five need to be tighter on Friday for sure. The defense has gone to pot, hasn't it? After looking so solid for the starting the calendar year, looking absolutely brilliant. But yeah, it does. We can't concede. We shouldn't be conceding three against QPR. No chance. But we are capable of doing so. since the return of football after the international break. But yeah, Paul, I know. Paul here saying 96 points and finishing third would be so Leeds. It would, but keep the faith. And you know what? We'll end on that one because while it's still possible, got to have faith, right? So yeah, people, that'll be it for the show. I'll see you in another video. I'm not sure when that will be. Probably tomorrow, maybe the next day. We will see. Please like the video, share the content, drop your thoughts and comments below after Leicester's emphatic win tonight. And I'll see you in the next one, people. Peace out.